Finding a job can be tough, but did you realize what you put on your resume is critical because some words that you're using could be turning off potential employers? Randy Wooden joining us now to talk about the words that we should avoid. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah, we always talk about what to put in. This is interesting. The words that maybe aren't doing as much help, right?
You want to be impactful on a resume, and I've been on many times talking about words that you should use.
Okay.
But there are ones you may want to avoid.
Okay.
Let's take a run at some of these.
Okay.
One is cliches or claims. Team player, enthusiastic, dependable, hardworking.
Hey, now you're saying things that I see on a lot
Loyal.
of resumes.
I have a dog that's like that.
Well, true.
Right? You know,
true.
they're loyal and dependable and
And a
everything
team
else.
player too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Those are claims. I would hope you're all of those things when I meet you, but those aren't the words that will catch my attention.
Okay.
Some other things to lead, and my mom was an English teacher,
Yeah.
and I joke about this a lot, but I was asleep in class the day they diagram sentences. So if you're an English teacher and you're all about that stuff, just kind of go with it.
It's not resume language.
This
Okay.
is not resume language.
Okay.
Leave out pronouns.
Okay.
I, mine, me.
Now that's interesting because you would want to talk about your accomplishments, but you
It's not
don't.
in a narrative.
Okay.
LinkedIn is a different forum. You can use that, and certainly when you
Okay.
communicate, you want
Very
to
much
communicate
so.
in full sentences. But resumes speak. The subject is implied, so avoid those pronouns. Also avoid those helping verbs. Am, are, was.
Okay.
That kind of thing. Avoid
Okay.
those.
Okay.
So a sentence that says, I am a very dependable team player.
There's not a lot of.
It's a swing and a miss, right?
Yeah, it's just
Strike
like
three.
lettuce on a sandwich with no meat to it.
And there's one other kind of word, and whether that's an adjective, adverb, or whatever you want to call it, because
Yeah.
it can fluctuate. And those are those descriptors. Very, extremely. I'm a very hard worker. See, it doesn't say anything. Anybody can claim that. So avoid those words. And there's one big word that you and I used to use, or we would see on resumes
Okay.
a generation ago. And that's the word objective. Beneath
Okay.
your name and all that at the top.
Well, yes, that was one of the main parts.
Yeah.
You put your name up there, and all of a sudden, objective.
Yeah, and
I'll bet it's to have a challenging position at
I
a
hate that.
something.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I call it the Miss America quote. World,
That's good, yeah.
World peace and everything else. A challenging position where I can utilize my skills
sure
and
you
grow for the
would.
betterment of
Sure you
mankind.
would.
So avoid that. Frankly, companies don't care what your objective is. They want to know, can you do the job that we have at hand? And so instead, put the word summary or profile or something like that, and then list the keywords, the functions, jargon, all the stuff that you and I talk about a lot.
It seems
that
to me
focus on the job.
It seems to me if you cut that out, all of a sudden you've got more space for the things that matter.
It's the meat, the content that counts. All that fluff doesn't do much for me. Now, when I talk to you, I'd like to see those intangibles and have you give me examples of being dependable, but those aren't the words that'll drive me to pick up the phone and call you.
Okay. Randy, thanks very much. Always a good idea. And by the way, people want more, they can find you in the Journal, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Every other Sunday. In fact, it was just in this past Sunday.
Okay, or Goodwill of Northwest North Carolina.
You bet.
Randy, thanks.
Thank you.
Tom?